My name is Josie Gray. Unmasked is the name of the song. My inspiration for Unmasked was being in a having shall I say, a background of church, an upbringing in church, and so many things happening in church to people that they don't talk about. Um, with the Pentecostal background, we shout over it, we speak in tongues over it, we preach over it, and all of those things, but we don't usually get healed through it. Unmasked was written to tell my story, things I've encountered, not just in the church, but mainly in church, but also in life, so that people know that just because you go through things, you can still come through them and be healed. But I believe healing comes through transparency. So that's what Unmasked is about and why it was written. Realizing, number one, that leadership is people who are also human. I became more aware of that because I became a leader as well. I'm a former pastor, and dealing with people, their certain things they're going through, life's instances, you realize that leaders have feelings too. Me being the way that I was when I grew up, I kind of thought that leaders were superhumans, but becoming one myself made me realize, oh my God, they have feelings too, and they're not above or beyond reproach or, as we say, sin or wrongdoings. So me going through things myself is why I said, you know what, someone needs to talk about this so people know that we're not superhumans. We make mistakes. We need someone there for us who can see beyond our wrong, beyond the things we've done, and know that we still love God. We still have great hearts. We still desire to do the right thing, but we still go through challenges. So that's what Unmasked is about, and it's basically, again, a compilation of my life and things I've encountered. Okay, I was a pastor's wife. This is how it started in the pastoral field, if you will. I was a pastor's wife. We went through challenges in church. We ended up getting a divorce. A number of things brought on that divorce. I won't say that it was all me and it wasn't all him, but nevertheless, there was infidelity. There was at least one child born out of that infidelity. And so then we went through the divorce. Then we had our own child, although we were divorced. So my beautiful, beautiful son came after the divorce. And then after that, I began to realize that there was a need. People were hurting and people were looking for answers. And being that, not just because I'm raised in church, but because I'm called to help heal people, I believe and I know, I began to pastor myself. It was supposed to have been a ministry that someone else was going to be pastoring. And they kept asking me to do it and kept asking me to do it. And I stepped in and began to pastor and saw wonderful things take place in that ministry. Then there was another thing that happened and I left that ministry. After that, maybe about a year or so later, I began to decide, do I really want to stay here? Because it's like everything just dried up for me. Everything. And that was in Greenville, South Carolina. So I moved and I left Greenville, South Carolina, and I was hoping and thinking that I got away from pastoralship. I ended up going to Summerville, South Carolina, near the Charleston area, and people would meet me and they kept saying, oh my God, I love to hear you speak. I had started a YouTube channel called the TTT Josie Gray Show, which I still have, but I haven't done anything with it. And people started watching it and asking me, oh my God, are you a pastor? Are you going to start a church? And are you a minister? And different things like that. And people started being drawn to me, which happens, which is a beautiful thing. But anyway, so I ended up starting a church in Summerville in a friend's home. And shortly thereafter, things happened. And then I went and I moved into my home and things were going great. But then COVID came. So right before COVID came, I decided to close the doors anyway before things got really bad. That's the timeline and the space, if you will, concerning pastoralship. But I pastor now in a different fashion, in a different manner. Through ministry of music is one of the things. I speak on stages as in like Facebook, social media, opportunities where I do actually stand and speak in corporations or in ministries, churches as well. So not necessarily just church, But it's a different type of pastoralship, if you will. It's where I'm able to impact people, but I honestly don't have the responsibility of sheep, if you will, directly reporting to me or me overseeing them as a shepherd. Yeah.
And he reminded me, there's royalty inside of me. Accept the gift of the King. So elevate my thinking. He came to change my life in an eye's blinking. Said I'm more costly than rubies or diamonds, worth more than my weight in